let's talk about what happened last night. So last night, Tuesday, January 9th, the Finance and Governance Committee meeting. This is in Oxnard, by the way. I just assume that everyone knows that. So last night, the Oxnard Finance and Governance Committee meeting was going to decide whether or not to recommend that the city council put in their next agenda for their next meeting or for a future meeting an item on their agenda where the city council would have to say basically if they support House Resolution 786 or they don't support it. And House Resolution 786 is a resolution that calls for the immediate ceasefire in Palestine and for the immediate aid to enter Gaza. So that was basically what was happening last night at the Finance and Governance Committee meeting. So, again, just to really hammer this shit in. Last night, the Finance and Governance Committee meeting, 3 people were going to decide whether or not to recommend to put House Resolution 786 on a future agenda for a future city council meeting. So a little background for folks who might not be really aware of how the city works or how these meetings or committees work. The main meeting, which is the city council meeting, is the meeting where it's the mayor, so John Zaragoza, and all of the council members. So the main city council meetings are John Zaragoza, Gabe Turan, Arthur Valenzuela, Bert Perello, Brian McDonald, Gabriela Basua, and Jose Madrigal. I believe his name is Jose. His last name is Madrigal for sure. Those are the main meetings, right? So the city breaks down their structure so that they also have committee meetings, which are like, I just call them subcommittees. So like, I tier it. So it's like the city council is over here, which is all of them. And then the subcommittees, which is the Finance and Governance Committee or the Public Works and Transportation, stuff like that. Those are the subcommittees. And in those committees, the people who sit on those committees are the people that sit at the city council meetings. So the ones who are in these committees down here are people who are council people or even the mayor. Like, for example, last night in the Finance and Governance Committee meeting, that committee is headed by 3 people who are the mayor, Gabe Turan, and Gabriela Basua, which are 2 council people. So even under those committees, there are other groups that are called commissions. So things like the Cultural Arts Commission, something like that. Those commissions are often quote unquote regular people, but they're not really regular people. It's all people that have ties or are friends with like the city people, like the elected official people. Because to be in these commissions, actually like a person from the city council has to like vouch for you, basically. But anyway, that's a whole other video. Listen, if folks want like a video talking about like these different committees and all that shit, like I'll gladly do it, but that's neither time nor place because I have a lot of stuff to get into. But I just want people to kind of have a basic understanding. And essentially, the takeaway, if you don't take anything away from what the fuck I just said, just know this. The way that the city does this shit, where they have the city council meeting, and then they'll have the committee meetings, and then they'll have the commission meetings. They say that they do that to make it easier. But essentially, it's just fucking bureaucratic red tape. It's just the city making shit more complicated than they need to make it. That's it. That's all you have to understand. So last night, again, the Finance and Governance Committee meeting was going to decide whether or not to place House Resolution 786 on a future City Council meeting agenda. That's it. That was if you peel back all of the fucking layers and if you boil it down and reduce it to something simple. The whole thing about last night was the Finance and Governance Committee making a yes or no decision on to put House Resolution on a future City Council meeting. That's it. That was the whole thing. Yes or no. That's it. But before we really get into it, right? Before we really get into it, let me just briefly kind of introduce myself, say who the fuck I am. More than anything, honestly, because I've been in situations like this before where I have been critical about certain things and certain groups, and the way that certain groups do certain things around here in Oxnard. And I've had to deal with the silly fucking bullshit of people trying to come at me and be like, oh, well, who the fuck are you? What the fuck have you done? All of that silly nonsense, right? And I guess maybe that's my fault because I don't really talk about myself like that. I don't really like to put my shit out there. I have trouble being vulnerable, right? I have trouble like just opening up about my shit. And I guess that's my bad. That's on me. So then people think that when I'm being critical of certain things, I'm just being a fucking hater or I'm just talking out of my ass. So, hi, my name is Carla Alejandra. I'm 33 years old. I've been doing things organized and disorganized around Oxnard for the better part of the last 10 to 13 years. I'm coming from a migrant, mixed status family background, having been ambiguous and mixed status myself at certain points in my life. Coming from what a lot of people like to say low income, which just means fucking poor background, right? So I'm coming from the lived experience of a woman of color, dealing with all kinds of intersecting forms of oppression, right? Things like racism, machismo, classism, shit like that, right? If you go to my bio, it says right there, I'm an anarcha-feminist, which basically is anarchist and feminist put together. And personally, for me, I think that label is really important, and I like to have it out there so that people right away see what the fuck I'm about, or hopefully people will know what the fuck I'm about, which basically, like I said, I'm kind of old, so I've been around and I've seen shit, done shit for a long time now. And unfortunately, one of the things that I've had to encounter, especially as a woman of color, even within leftist spaces, right? Even within spaces where people call you a fucking comrade and all that shit, has been to witness machismo, right? At play, misogyny. And it's mostly fucking cishet men that come into these spaces with their bullshit. So now I lead in with, hi, hello, I'm anarcha-feminist, so that people know right away that there's certain things that I'm just not going to put up with right off the bat, even within these fucking spaces. right? Because the thing about me is that a mí me gusta dar chingadazos por parejo, which means that like I like to, if I'm gonna be, let's just say for example, if I'm gonna be calling out machismo, like in general, right? You know, fuck misogyny, fuck the patriarchy, all of this shit. I'm gonna be calling it out in general on a macro level, right? Like, so in general, worldwide, as a society, whatever. But I'm also going to be doing that shit at a micro level. So within interpersonal relationships, within friends, family, within fucking leftist spaces that I'm in, even. Wherever I encounter that shit that I'm saying that I'm against, I'm going to call that shit out. It doesn't matter where the fuck that is. And the same can be said about white supremacy. The same could be said about like this internalized like fucking whiteness and just kind of like bullshit that honestly some white people bring into leftist spaces. There's still a lot of white people out here that still have to do a lot of work within themselves before they try to especially come around people of color, especially leftist POC, right? And I butted heads over the years with certain people because of these things, because I call this shit out, because some of this shit is a little bit uncomfortable, because some of these people don't want to believe that, you know, they're perpetuating harm instead of doing good. And I get it. People don't want to be the fucking bad guy, right? Like, especially within leftist spaces and leftist organizations. A lot of us, at least, would like to believe that we're trying to make this fucking place. We're trying to make a better world. You know, un mundo nuevo, right? A lot of us don't want to reflect on ourselves and make that painful realization that, hey, damn, I'm kind of fucking up. And the thing is that I've been there, right? I've been there. I've been, unfortunately, part of shit that later on, upon much painful reflection, I realized I was doing harm, right? And it could be true that you could be doing a lot of good, but you could also be doing a lot of harm, a lot of bad. And that's been one of the more, it's just been hard, you know, to reflect on that shit, to take the time to do that inner fucking reflection and sit with yourself and sit with all of that brings, which is like the guilt, the shame, the pain, like, you know, the denial even at first, the grief, and finally to accept it and learn from it and move on. So what I'm trying to say is, when I'm out here being critical of things, right? When I'm out here being a hater, a lot of it is coming from a place where I've been there. And I've been part of groups. And I've done some of that shit. And I've realized that that shit wasn't helping anything or anyone, and that I was fucking up, and that I was being part of the harm that was being done. So a lot of my shit is coming from direct fucking lived experience. Like I said, I'm fucking old, and I've been around this shit a really long time. I've made a lot of mistakes, right? And I would like to think that I've learned from those fucking mistakes. But the thing is that I continuously see these mistakes being fucking made. But I don't really see a lot of people talking about it. And I figure that if we don't talk about it, then these fucking mistakes are just gonna keep fucking happening. And that's where I see that sometimes we have to have these fucking conversations and talk about this shit, because it's like, if we don't fucking talk about it, then like it's just gonna keep fucking happening. You know what I mean? So, you know, and two, like I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get too much into that shit, because it's just, like I said, it's a lot. And at the end of the day, like, you know, some people get where I'm fucking coming from. Some people don't. And I could sit here all day and explain to you every single thing of my life that I've fucking experienced that has made me into the person that I am, that has shaped who I am. And there's still gonna be people that aren't gonna understand where the fuck I'm coming from. That things that I say are probably gonna, you know, they're still gonna react the way that they're gonna react. Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, and I say this from experience, because I was there, I was told sometime, like when I was doing my shit, or, you know, part of whatever shit I was a part of, like there were people telling us, hey, like you're fucking up, hey, like no, like that's kind of weird, hey, no, that's problematic, hey, like, you know, and I didn't want to listen to that shit. I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't listen to it. So let's not waste any more time, whatever the fuck. Let's just get into it. So last night at the meeting, a lot of things happened, right? I did leave the meeting early just because a lot of different reasons, personal reasons as well. Also, I had class. Spring semester just started. But also I walked into that fucking room. I saw people that were walking in, and I knew, like I said, I've done this shit for a very long time, that I could tell how that shit was gonna go. And I was like, okay, well, you know, it's gonna go like this, and fine, whatever. So I was actually like the first person that spoke, just because I had originally signed up to speak online, and they give preference to people that sign up to speak online. Even though they say that they do that shit randomly, no, they don't. They don't pick people randomly to speak. It's always the people that sign up online to speak first, and then usually it's like in order. Like maybe they shuffle the cards a little bit, but not really. So I went in, I wasn't even fucking ready. I didn't even write anything down, to be honest. But like I said, the issue at hand that the Finance and Governance Committee was there to talk about was, yes, put House Resolution 786 on a future City Council agenda. No, don't put House Resolution 786 on a future City Council agenda. That's it. That was the decision, essentially. So last Wednesday, in fact, when I asked people, no, let me be more direct. When I put that information out there, and I'll get into that in a second. When I put that information out there on Instagram, hey, the Finance and Governance Committee is going to be deciding this, I think people should call. People should call, show up to support, and to say, yes, put that shit on the next City Council agenda. That is it. That is it. It was that simple. That simple. Yes. Put that shit on the next City Council agenda. Good. Next speaker. Yes. Put that shit on the City Council agenda. Next speaker. Yes. Put that shit on the City Council agenda. Next speaker. It was that simple. And maybe I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. Maybe y'all already can see where I'm going. I'm telling you, It's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. But that's not how it panned out, was it? Now, I understand that there are some people who have never spoken at city council meetings ever, who have never spoken at subcommittees ever. There are some people who had never even probably heard of the Finance and Governance Committee, people who don't understand how that works, who don't understand, and that's fine. But there are other people who do, or at least who act like they do. And for those people that do understand how this shit works, or at least act like they understand how this shit works, it is their responsibility then to help these other people that don't fucking understand any of this shit. But you see, that problem is, that's the problem. That some people act like they know how this shit works. That's the fucking problem. But again, I'm getting too ahead of myself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, right? This is what I didn't know what I should say first. If I should talk about the criticisms that I had about how that whole shit was handled last night. But first of all, more than anything, let me just tell people, they shut that shit down. Like, they shut the whole, like, they ended up kicking everyone out. So first of all, these meetings have bylaws, right? There are some regulations and rules, whatever, to how these things are conducted. And at first, people were starting to say shit and say things and whatever. And to some extent, yeah, I guess that's fine. So the first step was the city people being like, yo, chill the fuck out, or we're gonna have to clear the room. Because if a meeting gets too disruptive, it's in the rules and bylaws or whatever that they can clear the room and have people come in and speak one by one. So if it's just too much back and forth going on, too much disruption, everybody needs to leave the room, and then they'll have people come in one by one, you speak, okay, leave, get out, the next person comes in, speaks, then you get out, like that. So I guess shit got wild. And I heard some of it, again, I was in class or whatever, and I got out, and it was still it was still being live streamed. I heard some of it because at a certain point, they actually cut the audio. When people, the first time that they said, okay, everybody needs to leave, and we're going to have people one by one come in, and speak. And shit just got super wild. They cut the audio because it was fucking loud. I was hearing it. You could actually hear the Free Palestine, all that shit, which admittedly was tight. That was cool. But they cut the audio. Which is, honestly, that's wild to me. And it was because of what people were saying. So after that, again, I was just watching the live stream. I wasn't there anymore. So after that, I'm guessing that people were forced out. And that's when it was decided, because in the live stream, you can see, I think even at one point, the mayor and Gabriela Basua left. And they came back when the room was clear. Everybody came back. And the audio at that point was cut off again. But the video was still going. So you could see that the lawyer, I forget his name, but it's the city attorney, was there, and he was talking to them. And he was he had a paper, and he was talking to them. So I'm guessing, again, like the audio got cut off. And then I think when someone realized that the video was still on, when they were talking with the attorney, they cut that off really quick too. But what I figure was happening right there was that the city attorney was probably recommending that they just don't have anybody speak anymore. Which I don't really understand why they wouldn't do that. I don't understand why. Well, I mean, I guess they probably thought that people were gonna just like rush back in if they like started leaving, allowing people like one by one to come back in. But anyway, at that point, they came back on, and it was decided that no one was gonna speak anymore. And they were just going to make a decision. And sin hacérselas larga, the decision was basically that they were not going to put that shit on the next agenda. So Gabe Turan went on a long-winded fucking speech and said a bunch of nothing, honestly. But eventually he did say that like he began the motion, which is essentially he was like, okay, like I recommend that House Resolution 786 be placed on a next like future agenda item for the next city council meeting. And at that point, when they do those motions, they have to ask for a second. And someone says, oh, I second it. And then that's when, like, the rest of them, like, either say yes or no. So at that point, he had asked for he had put it as a motion. And it was asked, is there a second to this item or this motion? The mayor and Gabriela Basua didn't say shit. So no one seconded the motion, which meant that they didn't want. The other two didn't want to put that shit on on an agenda for the next city council meeting. Which this is like this is my criticism with that shit with the city. And this is what I said at the meeting, right? That it is ridiculous that it is only up to 3 people to make that decision. That's ridiculous. Like, now I think that it should be like majority, like what the people want, right? If the majority of the people want this item to be placed on the agenda, then it should be placed on the agenda. But at the bare minimum, if they're not even going to do that, at the bare minimum, they should allow at least the other city council members to also have a say in that shit. Bare minimum. Like, bare minimum, this is a fucking decision. Like, if they're not going to go by what the people want, then bare minimum, the city needs to have all of the city council members, everyone who's going to fucking vote on it or have a say on it, should be like, yes, I want to have this. No, I don't want to have this. Yes, I want to have this. For a decision like that, especially on something that is like this important, or even other things that are important, like for that, like for a decision on whether the city's gonna have a say or gonna talk about it, like for that to just be up to 3 people is fucking ridiculous. Like that's not democracy, right? For people who still think that we live in a democracy, which couldn't be me. But for folks who still might have those hopes and dreams, that's not a fucking democracy. 3 people deciding that shit. But also, listen, and here's where we get to the fucking nitty gritty, right? Here's where we get to the nitty gritty of what happens on the side of like the people, or the side of the activist organizers, whatever the fuck. So As someone who has been part before of groups where we have spoken at city council, that's something that I failed to mention earlier, but the first time I spoke at city council was back in 2014. So on and off, I've been speaking at city council since 2014, right? So I've been a part of groups that have taken issues to city council, right? We have been in there. We have made the call for people to pack the council chambers, to show up, to show their support, to say their piece, whatever. We've said our piece. We've always gone with an objective, like with a goal, a clearly defined goal, a clearly defined objective. This is what we're going to do because this is what we want from it, right? I don't know what people wanted last night. And I think I already kind of talked about it. Maybe I touched upon it right now, earlier. But if not, I'll just say it again. When I put that information out there last week, and I asked people, hey, if you can, show up, sign up to speak, all of this. My goal, which maybe that is my bad too, right? Not clearly communicating my goal. But I thought it was clearly communicated, honestly. Maybe that was my fault too, for thinking that it was a clear goal when maybe it wasn't. What I wanted, but I think I even posted on my stories, what I wanted was for the Finance and Governance Committee people to vote yes to place House resolution on a future city council agenda. That was my goal. My goal was that, yes, they make it an agenda item. That was my goal. So when I spoke last night, I kept it simple. I kept it brief because my goal was, yes, put it for the next agenda. And maybe also that was my bad for thinking or for being maybe optimistic, because I really did believe that there was a good chance that they were actually going to agree and at least put it on the next agenda. I know that not all of them were probably not going to support House Resolution 786. I know that because if I haven't made this fucking clear, I know these people. I've been fucking watching and listening to them again and speaking at them again since like 2013, 2014. I know these people. Some of them have been there since that time. Bert Perello has been there since that time. Brian McDonald has been there since that time. Like, I've seen all of these fucking meetings. I've seen every single one of them speak. Like, I can tell you on any given thing, I can tell you this is how this person is going to vote, yes or no. This is how this person is going to vote, yes or no. And I am almost always fucking right because I know them. Because that's what you get from watching these fucking city council meetings, from watching all of these fucking committee or commission meetings. You get to know these people and know who they are and know what the fuck they're about. And that is ultimately my goal, right? When I put this fucking information out here, like when I put anything that has to do with the city, my goal is for people to know, first of all, what the fuck is going on, what they're fucking talking about, what's happening, what decisions they're making and aren't making. And also who the fuck these people are. And what type of fucking people they are. Those are my overall arching goals with what I fucking do on my Instagram. Right? So I knew that if this got to city council, there was actually a good chance that the majority was not going to be in support of House Resolution 786. I could tell you that already. I could tell you that I can assure you that Brian McDonald would have probably voted no on it. Bert Perello would have most definitely probably voted no on it. I can tell you that Valenzuela would have voted yes on it because he is the one that started this whole shit. I want to say that Gabe Turan would have probably voted yes on it as well. Madrigal, I want to say that I don't know. But I feel like maybe he would have voted yes on it. Basua, I want to say that it's more likely that she would have voted no on it. And the mayor, I feel like he could have swung either way, depending on who was voting for what the majority was, and how it was presented to him. So there is a chance, looking at those statistics and numbers, there is a chance that it probably would have gone shut down. But then people would have known for sure. This person voted yes on it. This person voted no on it. This person voted yes on it. We would have known for sure. Because ultimately, that was my second goal. That once this got to the city council, these people were going to be forced to make a decision. Because again, like I said, and maybe I didn't say it enough, so I'll fucking say it again. I have been watching the city council meetings for so fucking long. Every single one of them. For the past months, they have been saying the most ambiguous shit, the most just shit of like, oh, prayers for the Middle East and what's happening in the Middle East, like just ambiguous shit like that. This would have forced them to say, yes, I support a ceasefire. No, I don't support a ceasefire. It would have forced them to fucking be actually vocal about it and direct. And from that, for better or for worse, whether they voted yes on it or no on it, we would have directly known who the fuck they are. And that is more ammunition for the next time when we're talking about other things. Because see, that's my thing. And that is at the core of why week after fucking week, I watch all of these meetings. I listen to every single fucking word that they say. Because it is all ammunition. Everything. Because every single time that I have spoken shit to them at city council meetings, at committee meetings, everything, the only thing that I say to them, the only things that I use against them are things that they say. Because that is the most powerful thing that you can use against people. Things that they say. Because they cannot call you a liar. Because it is harder to refute the shit that you're saying. Because you're simply stating the shit that they said. Like, I don't know if anybody else maybe would agree with me or see my my strategies or whatever. And maybe I'm putting too much out there. But that is why I do this. So that I can use the things that they say against them. And I can bring that shit back to their fucking face. So personally, my goal, at least for last night, was yes, put that shit on the next agenda. Don't go too much into it. Because you know what? I was going to save the hard shit for the city council agenda for when they were actually going to vote on it. Last night, if this was a fight, okay, or maybe think about it this way. If this was a fight, last night was the fucking jab. The city council meeting where they were going to be voting on it, that should have been the fucking hook. This was a jab, that should have been the fucking hook. But again, sometimes some people come into my DMs, right, for the things that I say, the things that I talk about, especially the city or the city council people. And they ask me, how do you know this? Or like, you know, this and that. Like I said, baby, because I've been watching this shit and I've been listening to them and watching them for a really long time. That's how I know. Because I remember the things that they say. Because it's to my benefit to remember all of the things that they say. all of the stances that they take, all of the things that they reject, all of the things that they praise, all of the things that they pass, that's ammunition to me that I use against them when I'm talking my shit. It is in my best interest to keep tabs on them and know what the fuck they're up to, know what the fuck they're saying, know what the fuck they're doing. Like, all of this is like up here, basically. And all of this knowledge about who they are and what type of people they are and the things that they support and the things that they don't support is because week after week for the past fucking years, I have been submitting myself to watching this shit. Sometimes against my own fucking, like sometimes against the detriment to my own fucking mental health, honestly. Because some of the shit that they say is the most anger-inducing bullshit that I have heard them say over the years. But in some ways, I take it because it is ammunition that I can use against them. Because sometimes you need to know when to jab and sometimes you need to know when to fucking give the hook. Right? So this next part of this is, and I'm just going to say it, PSL co-opted my shit. PSL, if you don't know, is, what is it? Party for Socialism and Liberation. Some shit like that. Which a lot of people maybe are not aware. PSL is basically a political party. They have political candidates. They run for presidency. They run for office and shit like that. So it's a political party. I'm talking specifically, I mean, we can have a whole conversation about PSL as a whole organization. We can have that conversation, but specifically right now I'm talking about PSL Ventura. Which PSL Ventura, any which way you look at it, predominantly is made up of white people that live in Ventura. Hence the fucking Ventura after the PSL, right? Are you staying with me? PSL Ventura from Ventura. So these white people from Ventura let me start at the beginning, right? So last week, again, like I said, and like I've been saying, week after week, I watch all of these fucking meetings. Week after week, I read every single fucking agenda as soon as it is emailed to me. And the thing that you have to understand about these things is that there are about almost 500,000 people living in Oxnard, give or take, roughly, especially because we do have a large population of undocumented folks around here. Like, people want to say it's like, oh, it's like 400,000. No, baby, it's probably way more than that. Around 500,000 people living in Oxnard. If you go outside right now and say, hey, who's the fucking mayor? Most people don't even know who the fucking mayor is. Don't even know anybody on the city council. A large part of the Oxnard population they don't watch the city council meetings. They don't know anything about that shit. And that is one of the reasons why I started doing this shit too. Why I started really not just watching them, but putting out this information. Hey, they're saying this. Hey, they said this. Hey, they're putting this on the agenda. Hey, they're going to be talking about that. Or hey, they made this decision. Because a lot of people don't even know anything about the fucking elected officials around here. And even less people know that we can have access to these agendas even before the meetings come out, right? So last week, what happened was that on Wednesday, I got an email, like I always do, from the city clerk saying, hey, these are the agendas for next week. I'm not the only one. I'm sure there are other people on this newsletter or email blast, whatever. I got the agenda. I did what I always do. I opened my email. I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. I looked at the agendas every single fucking week. It doesn't matter how long the agenda is or how short the fucking agenda is. I look at every single fucking item, every single thing of every single fucking agenda. I open my agendas. I look at the finance and governance agenda. And that is when I saw item D3. Whether or not to recommend to City Council to put this on a future agenda item for a future Oxnard City Council meeting. And this shit happened like around 7 p.m. at night. I know because I had just gone out of the shower and I was supposed to call my partner back. Because I was like, hey, I'm going to jump in the shower. I'll call you back after I'm done. But after I was done, I picked up my phone, looked at my email, saw that shit. And I was like, fuck. I need to put this information out here because this shit's important. So I didn't call my partner back right away. Instead, what I did, I started making a fucking flyer. I made the fucking flyer. I posted that shit on Instagram. I put my fucking caption, posted that shit on my stories. And I said, hey, I think people should call in. We need to make these people have this on a future city council agenda. I posted that shit Wednesday night. This was around maybe like 8 p.m. or some shit like that. 7 p.m., 7 to 8 p.m. I posted that shit right away. Because I was like, no, this information, this needs to get out there. Please share this shit. This is really important. People need to call in. People need to support. 2 hours later, and mind you, I didn't see this shit until the next day. Because after that, I called my partner back. We chilled, whatever. Went to sleep. The next day, woke up, chilled. So the next day, let me just say how it happened. The next day, I get on Instagram. People are sharing my stuff. Cool. You know, I'm replying to DMs, whatever. That's fine. Next day, why am I scrolling through my fucking stories? And I start seeing some people are sharing this fucking flyer that I'm reading it and I'm like, oh shit, wait, I don't remember making this flyer. Because I'm reading this fucking flyer and it's the same exact fucking information that I had posted. Saying, hey, the Finance and Governance Committee meeting is going to be talking about this. And they're going to have this item. And it's going to be about whether or not to put House Resolution 786 on a future City Council agenda. Hey, I think people should show up and call. Only it wasn't my flyer. It was PSL Ventura's flyer. With my information on it. So, how did they get that fucking information? Because I literally just told you how I got it. I am subscribed to receive these agendas. Because this is what I've been doing for years. Reading these fucking agendas. Taking the fucking time out of my day when I could be doing other shit. To read these fucking agendas. To know what the fuck the city is doing. At all times. And I can bet money that I don't have. Because like I mentioned before, this is PSL Ventura. Made up of predominantly white people who live in Ventura. If I am telling you that out of 500,000 fucking people that live in Oxnard, where most of them don't even know who the fucking mayor is, are you going to tell me that más bien white people from Ventura are also coincidentally subscribed to these fucking email blasts from Oxnard to receive the agendas from Oxnard? And they also read that shit the same exact day? Because, by the way, I went to their fucking post. I went back to mine. It said I had posted it 17 hours ago. I went to their post, and their post at that time said they had posted it 15 hours ago. So you are meaning to tell me that coincidentally, white people from Ventura are also subscribed and also received the same email I did in the same day, read that thing, and 2 hours after I posted my shit and I asked people to share it, they also posted the same exact thing? Brother, what? And the thing about that is that this isn't even the first time it's fucking happened. It's just that the other time I didn't even notice it. Because the other time I didn't even call for people to call in. You see, a couple of weeks ago, or actually a month ago, like in November. Again, because I've been doing this for fucking years. Here and there, I'll be reading agendas and I'll post that shit on Instagram. I'll post it to my stories or whatever and be like, hey, they're talking about this, or hey, they're going to be talking about that. And mostly it's been shit talking about the Oxnard Police Department. And I remembered that at that time, I was like, oh shit, hey, at the next city council meeting, they're going to be discussing on whether or not to approve that the Oxnard Police Department can buy more flashbang grenades and drones. And I said, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be calling in and talking shit to them. Like I always do, because that's the other thing. I've consistently been calling in to city council meetings and talking shit to them consistently. That's how people fucking find me, and that's how people find my fucking Instagram, because I do that shit and I post about it and people share that shit. By the way. So I said, oh yeah, I'm going to call in, I'm going to talk shit. Bueno, otra coincidencia, o la primera coincidencia, que esa vez, guess what? Guess who calls for a fucking action? Guess who shows up and speaks at that time too? PSL Ventura. And what are they fucking talking about? Oh, the OPD having flashbang grenades and fucking drones. Military equipment. That's weird. That's like super coincidental. Super coincidence, right? And it's just like... And I didn't say anything. And maybe that's my fault. Right? Because you see, the thing that fucking gets to me more than anything is that I already didn't fuck with PSL as an organization. Because like I said, I'm fucking old. And I've been in this shit a very long time. And I have seen a lot of this shit play out already. For a very long time, for years, it's been known, and especially within large pockets of activists and community organizers of color, that PSL as an organization is bad news. Bad news. That they go into communities, mostly communities of color, and it's predominantly fucking white people coming in, acting like a fucking vanguard, acting like, oh yeah, we're gonna come in, do all this shit. That's their tactic. And it's been known. I'm not the only one. So if y'all think I'm just fucking talking about shit about PSL Ventura, baby, no way. No way. This is known about PSL as a whole organization. And I've been knowing this shit. But listen, after October 7th happened, and we started getting flooded with those fucking horrible images about... I don't even want to say about what. But you know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that shit gets to you. Okay? Seeing that shit. Seeing some of that shit gets to you. And I get that. Because if there's any downside to being politically aware or being an activist or community organizer, whatever the fuck you want to call it, it is that sometimes this shit gets to you. So when all of that started happening after October 7th, because Palestine has been fucking going through a genocide. Let's just put that out there too. But specifically after this started coming out in October 7th, I saw PSL Ventura starting to amp up their shit, starting to put on protests and all this shit and their little fucking events. Some of which I fucking attended too, honestly. I went to one of their little things. Even though at that point, I didn't fuck with them. And I didn't say shit. Even though, honestly, part of me wanted to. Because like I said, critical of all of this shit. And that's a fucking Marx quote, okay? For all of you that fucking love that dude. Ruthlessly criticize everything. That is actually the one thing that I do internalize from Karl Marx, if nothing else. Ruthlessly criticize everything. But in that moment, I didn't say shit. Because I understand that this leads a lot of people into despair. And that going to actions, more than anything, connecting with other people, it brings us a little bit of hope. And it takes away a little bit of that despair away. So even though I had my concerns, my qualms, my criticisms of PSL, I saw PSL Ventura doing their shit here. And I bit my fucking tongue and I didn't say shit. I saw some people that I respect fucking with them. So I said, out of respect for the people that I fuck with, that I guess they're fucking with PSL, I won't say shit. And look how that fucking turned out. Look how that fucking turned out. Because at the end of the day, they did what fucking PSL always does and what PSL is known to do. Which is go in and co-opt the labor of people of color who have been active in their fucking communities for years. Because maybe that is my bad too. That I don't speak often on how much of labor I put into this shit. The information that I do, the time I take to watch these fucking meetings that are hours long, that I watch multiple times sometimes so that I can truly understand what the fuck is going on. That I read the fucking agendas, that I'm subscribed to any of this shit. That I put this shit on my fucking Instagram, that I say, hey, people should know about this. Hey, people should read about this. Hey, you need to know what the fuck they're doing. And that I've been doing for fucking years. And that a lot of people around here can fucking attest that I've been doing for fucking years. But really, y'all don't read the fucking room? Y'all don't read the fucking room and think about how it looks. White people that aren't even from here coming in and taking shit from a woman of color who has put fucking blood, sweat, tears, pain, anger into this shit? Are you fucking kidding me? Maybe Marx didn't talk about that in his fucking books. Maybe Lenin didn't fucking talk about that. Maybe fucking Mao didn't talk about that bullshit. But I'm telling you, even though maybe your little fucking great man theorist didn't fucking say that, I'm gonna tell you right now, it looks fucking bad for you, predominantly white people from Ventura, to come in and coincidentally be posting the same exact fucking information that a woman of color is posting. That there's no fucking way you also have access to that fucking information when you don't even fucking live here, brother. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You're really gonna fucking come and tell me that you also had fucking access to that fucking agenda? That you also are out here keeping tabs on the Finance and Governance Committee meeting, brother? Are you fucking for real? Not even the city council. And maybe that's why I fucking chalked it off last time, because that was a city council meeting. Okay, yeah. A little bit more people watch city council meetings and are aware of city council. But the Finance and Governance Subcommittee, brother, are you fucking shitting me? You're gonna fucking sit there and tell me that you're also keeping tabs on that? And you don't even live here? Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. And now look what happened. And now look what happened. You know, at the fear of like crossing that rocky road of like, you know, like at the fear of like going into outside white agitator territory that I know a lot of people like use to try to, yes, I understand, to try to like delegitimize things that are being done, and especially delegitimize things that largely people of color are doing, you know, at the expense of like sounding like that. Look what happened. Look what happened when people who don't even fucking live here, who have no fucking idea how the city council works, let alone how any of these fucking committees work, who don't know who the fuck these people are, who can't even fucking tell you anything about Madrigal, Zaragoza, Valenzuela, Basua, Perello, McDonald, who don't even fucking know anything about the fucking city of Oxnard. Look what happens when they come in and they call for a fucking action. Look what happened. What happened? Nothing. Nothing. Look what happened. No. Look what happened. It didn't even get past the Finance and Governance Committee meeting, brother. Now, if your whole goal was to disrupt that shit, kudos to you, brother. Armen el fucking desmadre. Sí. Because I'm not gonna sit here and don't fucking come for my fucking neck and be like, oh, you're not fucking down, bitch. Shut the fuck up. First of all, you don't know what I'm down for, and you don't know what the fuck I'm not down for. Second of all, if that's the goal, by all means, that's the goal. If the goal is to burn the shit down, then burn the shit down. That's the goal. But if the goal was to go to that meeting and successfully get those 3 fucking people to say, yes, put that shit on the next city council agenda, you fucking failed. Bottom line, you fucking failed. And a large part of that has to do because this shit, most of the people that were pulled there by people who don't even fucking live here. Don't even fucking live here. After the one time PSL Ventura showed up to that one fucking city council meeting in November, ask them how many fucking other times they showed up to other fucking city council meetings. Ask them. No, actually, you can ask me. Because I spoke at every single fucking meeting before that and after that. Up until fucking yesterday. So ask me and I'm going to tell you to 0. After that shit and before that shit, I can tell you they had never fucking showed up to any fucking city council meeting. Well, at least some of them. Some of them had. Like maybe around 2018, 2017. But see, back then, a lot of them that were in PSL Ventura now weren't known as PSL Ventura. They were actually known as Red Guards. And they would show up to the city council meeting around the time that we were doing the things about Megan Hockaday and stuff like that. They would show up with their communist flags and the fucking Marx and like Lenin shirts and the red bandanas. See, I remember you, yeah. I'm telling you, I've been here a long time and I've been doing this shit a long time. I remember you. I remember you. And see, that's the other issue that I fucking have too. Because a lot of people will hear this and be like, oh, well, es que no sabían. Ay, pues es que no sabían. Pues es que se hubieran comunicado. Es que... I know who they are. I know who a lot of the people in PSL Ventura are. And they know who I am. They know who I am. They know me. Because I'm telling you, I knew them since they were in the Red Guards. And I knew them, a lot of them, when they were in the Ventura Tenants Union. Hi, yes, I know who you are. And I know they know who I am. Because some of them have fucking spoken to me before and been in my fucking DMs before. So don't come to me with that fucking bullshit. Ay, pues hubieran hablado. Es que no sabían. Es que miscomunicación, mis huevos. Miscomunicación, no mis huevos, cabrón. Because when you look at it, and ask anyone, don't ask me, look on Twitter, ask other folks. This is what PSL does, and this is what PSL has been known to do. And that's why part of me is so fucking pissed off that I didn't say shit since the beginning. Because this is what they do. They come in, they fucking leech onto shit that has already been going on. They leech onto fucking shit that has already been happening. They co-opt this fucking shit, largely from fucking people of color that have been putting in fucking work. And they pass that shit off as their own. And they come into fucking communities that they have no fucking ties with. They don't even fucking live there. So it doesn't fucking matter to them or affect them at the end of the day if they fucking get kicked out of the city council meeting because they don't live here. Largely, most of them don't fucking live here. Why would you follow people like that? Why would you fucking do what people like that are doing? It doesn't matter to them. It doesn't affect them. They don't live here. So what is it to them if the fucking Oxnard meeting kicks them out? What is it to them? What is it to them? It's nothing. They don't live here. They're not from here. What is it to them? They don't care. They don't care to continue to have access to these meetings. They don't care to continue to watch these fucking meetings. They don't care to continue to fucking show up to these fucking meetings. They don't care to even fucking learn or know or understand who the fuck the fucking Oxnard City Council people even are. Or even who the fucking commission people are. Ask me. Ask me about any fucking person on any committee, any commission, and I'll tell you who that person is. Because I live here. Because I've been living here. Because the things that they do, the actions that they take, the decisions that they make directly affect me, directly affect my family, directly affect my loved ones, directly affect my community, directly affect the fucking most marginalized people in Oxnard who I care about. Who I'm doing this shit for. It is in my best interest. It is my strategy, my tactic, my form of organization, activism, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It is in my best interest to know who these people are, to watch these fucking meetings, to learn everything I fucking can about them. That is my strategy. That is my tactic. Because then I could turn around and use all of that shit against them. And what the fuck can they say about me? Huh? What the fuck can they say about me? But that is because I live here. I work here. I love here. I hang out here. Here, Oxnard is like my everything. So I have to really sit down and think how I'm going to go about shit. Because like I said, sometimes you have to know when to throw the jab and when to throw the fucking hook. Because it's different when you're actually invested in this shit. When you're actually from here. When you're actually like putting in the fucking work here. When you've been putting in the fucking work here, it's different. You have more things to lose. You have more things to lose. You have to be fucking smart about it. And that's what I tell people. That's what I tell my fucking partner. That's what I had to tell myself. That's what I had to learn myself. That even para el desmadre, hay que ser organizados. Even with the anger and the rage, we have to be fucking smart about it. Because at the end of the day, we need to really, really, really know what is our goal. What are we doing? That informs us. What do we want? How are we going to get it? Hasta para el desmadre hay que ser organizados. And like I said, this is something that takes a very long time. It takes a long time to get here. It takes a lot of reflection. It takes a lot of personal reflection. It takes a lot of speaking with others. But really speaking with them, or not even speaking, like just seeing, being, listening, more than anything. To really inform you how you're going to move. Porque hasta para el desmadre hay que ser organizados. Now, I know it's hard, right? I know it's hard. I know it might be uncomfortable, but I really want people. And I want people, especially that were out there yesterday, to really, really, really take the fucking time, and I'm being serious, take the fucking time and sit with yourself. And ask yourself 2 questions. When I went there yesterday, what did I want to get out of it? And then ask yourself, is that what I got? When I went there yesterday, what was the goal? And when I left, was that goal reached? And then ask yourself, what comes next? That's it. And then after every single thing, for all of the next things that you do, ask yourself those same things. Every single time.